Welcome back to Senior World Sport. Now, in September of 2012, German Chancellor Angela Merkel said gay footballers in the country should have no fear of revealing their sexuality. Over 6 years later, though, no male player in Europe's top 5 leagues has. Just this week, French World Cup winner and Chelsea football star Olivier Giroud telling the French sports newspaper Le Figaro it's quite impossible to show homosexuality in men's football after learning of the experiences of former Aston Villa player Thomas Hitzelsberger, who came out in 2014, but after he retired from the game. Giroud saying it was very emotional. This is when I told myself that it was impossible to display his homosexuality in football. In a changing room, there's a lot of testosterone, rooming together, collective showers. It's tricky, but it's like that. I understand the pain and the difficulty of guys coming out. It's a real test after working on oneself for years. I'm ultra-tolerant on it. At Arsenal, when they asked me to wear the rainbow laces in support of the gay community, I did it. There's still a lot of work in the football world on this subject, to say the least. In fact, the only known footballer to play while being open about his sexuality was Robbie Rogers, who played for the LA Galaxy for 4 seasons since going public and retired last year. And now he's joined by Minnesota United's Colin Martin, who now holds the mantle as the only known openly gay professional footballer currently playing. The 24-year-old also announced this 5 months ago. So that's here in the United States, but what about Europe? Well, a new movie called Mario, taking on that very subject. Why are there no openly homosexual footballers in European leagues? Mario focuses on 2 players playing on the same team in Switzerland who face constant and immense pressure from the clubs, from teammates, agents, and even parents as well, to conceal their sexuality in order to be successful in the sport they love. Senior World Sports' Alex Thomas spoke with the movie's director and its 2 stars and began by asking the director, Marcel Gisler, what motivated him to make the film.
The subject was present in the media for years, and I was surprised that, in fact, there was no feature film on the topic. And this was, of course, one of the reasons to start a project. But there was also a social-political aspect that was of interest for me. Colin Martin in the United States is so far, I think, the only active football player who lives openly gay. In Europe and in the rest of the world, there is no one else. And I thought that is an interesting phenomenon. It's like a parallel world, the football milieu, where the social progress of the last 50 years hasn't taken place, and I thought I want to go to the bottom of that contradiction. And I had to do a lot of research before. I talked to many people, to coaches, to managers, to players, not to gay players, to active gay players, of course, because they're really living in secret. But I had a chance to talk to one player who finished his career in Germany and came out later. And that was very important to get an emotional impression of my characters, of my 2 characters in the film. And I was lucky to meet some milieu experts who frankly talked to me about the issue. And everything that you see in the film or hear in the film is confirmed by these people. For example, how clubs manage their gay players or treat them, or that these agencies really exist, how do you say, mediate women for gay players to maintain this stereotypical cliche of masculinity, etc.
Yeah, for Aaron and Max, that must be an issue for you guys. You're trying to do your research, you're trying to get into character, but there are almost no openly gay footballers for you to look at and base your characters on. Did that make it harder than previous acting projects for you?
For me, actually, no, because it's the same for the characters, that it's something completely new, that they don't know about homosexuality in football. So, like the naivety for Mario, for example, it's something completely new, and that's perfect for me. So I didn't have to do like research, how is it to be a gay footballer, because Mario discovers it during the story.
And also, we both played football for a very long time, so we know this idea of how locker room talk is, and and how the pressure and what the dynamics are when you're in a football team. So we could base that a little bit on our own experience. And after all, we thought it's a love story that is universal, that just so happens to be in football. So it would have been helpful to know some players, but yeah, we did it differently.
Actually, I've known one gay football player, and I wanted to work with him during the research, and then he was afraid talking to me about the topic because I could go to the media or it could have been open. So he was scared, and he said, let's stop the contact. I don't want to talk about this topic anymore. And he wasn't even a professional football player. He was more amateur.
I once did a bad mistake and was reading YouTube comments below below the trailer. And while I would say 80% of them are very, very encouraging, and they're saying, yeah, I love this film, and it's super great, and thank you for doing this, there are a couple of people who are still saying very homophobic things, and are saying things like, well, this is football, there shouldn't be any gays in it. And first I was sad about that, but then I thought this is great because it gives the film such a legitimacy, you know, it shows that this film is very necessary.
And what about the reaction outside the clubs involved? Has it been more or less encouraging than you were hoping?
A little bit less. There is a phenomenon that a lot of clubs, when they go to public, they claim to be open-minded and liberal regarding diversity. But when you look within the clubs, there is a lack of really active engagement. There is even a lack of awareness of the topic and no interest. But not all the clubs. It depends the culture of a club. For example, St. Pauli in Hamburg is very known that they always defended the issue. They have the rainbow flag at the entry to the stadium, and it depends really who is leading the club.
Well, we'd like to add there that the guys told us that both the young boys team and St. Pauli FC in Germany were extremely cooperative in helping to get the movie made. Finally, we'd like to warn you that the movie may not be appropriate for everyone, as it does contain adult themes.